Friday, degenerate gamblers. Welcome on back to the Sharp Action Report right here on the Die Hard MMA podcast. I am joined by my good friend Andrew, who is from Superbook Sports. This show is less of a preview. We've already broken these fights down. And of course, we've got the undefeated post weigh in show a little bit later where we'll cover all the shenanigans on the scales this morning. This show is a peek behind the curtain. This show is a look across the counter. And Andrew's kind enough to share a little bit of information with us. Notable sharp action, public action. What are the splits looking like? Does the house have a favorite? That's the info you're going to get here on this show. So do me a favor, hit that like button, get subscribed, and of course, follow my guy, Andrew, because he's a good piece of information to have when it comes to these bets, especially before the fights kick off. Buddy, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. I've been really looking forward to this card. It's an awesome one. Obviously, we're getting slammed with pre-NFL stuff going up lately. We're starting to hone in on that, but yeah, from a betting perspective, this card has played out to be really, really good for handle, and a lot of sharp opinions on this card. So yeah, man, I'm really looking forward to this card tomorrow.
How's your JJ McCarthy comeback player of the year liability looking?
We actually don't book comeback player of the year. That's the one award that my bosses are like, that award is just so wild the way it plays out. I mean, that Hamlin situation from a couple of years ago, like,
yep.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one we don't book. So
it's a tough market to predict for sure. Oh, man. All right. Guys, we are going to go through this card top to bottom. We're just going to run through and see if Andrew has anything notable to tell us. We have lost a couple of fights this week, unfortunately, but we also have had a couple of fights added. So we're doing the old shuffle here, trying to keep about 13 fights together this week. And I believe that the first fight of the night is still Alibi Idris taking on Joseph Morales. This is an Ultimate Fighter finale fight here. I kind of like Idris, who is a very large favorite in this spot. He seems like one of these guys that shouldn't have been on the Ultimate Fighter, shouldn't have been on Dana White's Contender Series. Like, I could have seen this kid step right on into the UFC. So I like that side. But what are you seeing from a booking perspective? Any opinions on this first fight of the night?
Yeah, this is one I'll keep nice and short. It obviously did not have much shelf life, along with the other kid from the Contender Series. Those two we got up pretty late into this week. So, it hasn't got to play out as much as some of these other fights where I've seen significant amount of handle. But we ended up opening up this Idris price at minus 320 on the favorite. And you can clearly see that where the action has come in market-wide. So, less from our book perspective, but market-wide, you can see that price is no longer close to minus 320. You're looking at closer to minus 500 pretty much everywhere now. So, yeah, we're currently sitting minus 500 on Idris. I'm expecting that this is just a leg that's going to get thrown into some parlays. But, yeah, not much involvement in this fight. And, yeah, like, with the method of victories and stuff, there just isn't a lot of information out on these fighters so far. So it makes it a little bit more complicated for us, and you can kind of see why the books have the favorite price where he is, because they're probably not interested in taking too many favorite bets on this one.
For sure. Makes sense to me. And we don't even have props to talk about yet on this fight, which is interesting. It's always this way with the Ultimate Fighter ones, man. They try to keep it secret because the show hasn't aired, and then nobody gets information the way they're supposed to. And yeah, it's kind of a mess. Karine Silva and Dione Barbosa. We are sitting in the ballpark of minus 200 for Karine, plus 170 or so for Dione. This number is kind of tug of war back and forth a little bit over the course of the week. What are you seeing over there as far as liability goes on your side of things?
Yeah, it's funny. Me and John were actually just talking about this fight, because he's like, why are we so high on Silva? Because we've been pretty high on her all week. We ended up opening this fight at minus 160 on Silva. Pretty immediately at minus 170, we got hit from a respected bet a couple weeks ago from one of our sharper UFC bettors, and the price kind of, like you said, was moving that direction. It's come back a little bit, but from our perspective, we're not getting a lot of Barbosa action. So we've stayed a little bit higher on Silva, trying to tempt a few bets out of the price sensitive customers who are looking to shop for good prices. So from our perspective, we're pretty much offering the best price available on Barbosa. I know they fought a while ago and Barbosa actually won.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming that action will come, but we would like to win on the favorite. We know the public is going to come in day of and throw a lot of these favorites in parlays. So, like I said, we've been high on Silva all week, trying to get some action out. Um, I'm assuming, obviously, unless we get a few big bets on the dog, we are going to need the dog. Yeah, so we're sitting 230, and you can probably see anywhere from $2 to 210 out there. Like I said, we're a little bit higher on Silva than the market.
Okay, good to know. Some very good information. Notes need to be taken. Next fight on the board is Edson Barbosa and Drakkar Klose. Now, like I said, this is more about the betting information, you guys, and less about my opinion, preview, and breakdown. But I have to shout out good friend of the show, my guy Troy. Hit me up. You may know him as Kong Slips. Kong, let me know that apparently Edson Barboza has officially uttered the R word leading up to this fight, guys. I was not aware that Edson had come out and actually spoken anything into existence regarding his retirement. This line is coming down, and I'm not going to spoil anything for Andrew, but Klose was a much bigger underdog earlier in the week. And when a fighter is talking about retirement, you guys know I've got a very strong opinion of that. Even legends like Dustin Poirier, they just don't do as well on their final fight, whether that's because they've got one foot already in the grave, their preparation when it's time to push a little harder, they don't take it quite as seriously because they know they're done, looking for a door in the fight because, as soon as this fight's over, I'm out, I don't have to deal with this anymore, or just a mentality thing. There's a lot of different reasons why, but retiring fighters are not somebody you want to put your money on. So that is enough in a close fight to make me lean towards Drakkar Klose rather than Edson Barboza, a guy who's still hungry, a guy who still wants it. Granted, in their primes, Barboza probably wins. But I'm curious what you're seeing over there for that line move. Is that a market-wide thing? Are you guys getting close money? What's going on there at Superbook?
Yeah, so originally when we talked this fight through, we kind of liked that Barbosa side, not to be like a crazy favorite, just initial leans, but yeah, as the actions come in, this price has come down quite a bit, like you said. We opened up Barbosa at minus 150. It did get as high as minus 170 early in when we put these prices up. Ever since it got that high, we got hit at plus 150, plus 145. Kind of most of the action has come in on that close side. So actually, right now we do need the favorite in Barbosa. Not anything super significant where it's going to make or break our day. But I don't mind having spots on these cards where we go into the Saturday needing a bunch of these favorites because yeah, I hate to say the same thing always, but you just know the parlay liability will come in on the favorites. The favorites will get bet day of the fight. That is obviously pretty standard. So as of now, we need Barbosa, but like I said, Close has been a very popular side this week. So yeah, it's nice to see some dog action early. Wouldn't say the action's been overly respected, but pretty significant size wagers.
Okay. All right. Some very, very useful information for the chat here today on this fight. Let's keep it rolling, everybody. It is Chase Hooper fight week. Your guy is already, 2 feet in, 10 toes down on Chase Hooper. That's my guy. That guy's carrying the flag for skinny white boys everywhere. Alexander Hernandez and Chase Hooper. We've got Hooper as a solid favorite here in this spot, deservedly so, in my opinion. But Andrew, what are you seeing? Any nibbles? Did you guys set the line right? Or people staying away at this number? What's going on?
This I'll say this is been one of the more fun fights to book, especially at the price being one of the bigger favorites on the card, right? So you never know what to expect with the big favorites like this. But I'll spill the beans on the big guy bet. The favorite he bet this week was Chase Hooper. So he came in real early on Hooper. We opened up minus 280. He came in at minus 290, hit Hooper pretty big. That was his first favorite bet of the whole year. So, maybe he's trying to change his ways. He's been kind of down on his luck the last few wagers he's placed with us. So, yeah, he's fully switching up, going with a big favorite here in Hooper. Also to note, this is not the first time he's bet Hooper as a big favorite. I know in the past he came in when he was like minus 700 against somebody a couple years ago, laid the dump truck on that one. Yeah, so the big guy's in on Hooper minus 290. We obviously moved very aggressive. And this has been one where it was not super difficult to get money back the other way. We did take a pretty significant bet on Hernandez at plus 290 from another very, very respected guy. So this is a one that's pretty much very easy to book the balance because there's strong opinions on both sides from respected customers. So we're looking to need Hooper going into tomorrow, but by the time that the fight gets here, I assume we'll need Hernandez to, bust these parlays. And, this would be a good, we're trying to make it to where we won't lose on Hooper. I'll just say that.
Okay, that's a fair way to put it. That is a fair stance to take. I also like Chase Hooper this week. So me and the big guy back in the same boat together here. We'll see if it works out. Betting favorites rather than betting dogs this week. Come on, Chase Hooper. Don't let me down, buddy. The next fight we want to talk to you about, Jessica Andrade is taking on Lupi Godinez, one of the more intriguing matchups for the diehards and the hardcores out there, in my opinion, man. Very close competitive line here on this one. The Andrade, which version of her shows up this week really is the big question here. Is Lupi ready for this level of competition? She's lined as a favorite. This is one of those fights where someone like me could talk for 2 hours on this one single fight and we would bore every single casual out there. They'd turn the show off immediately. But I am very intrigued. What do you got here on this one, man?
Yeah, man, this is a fun one. This is one we talked about in the back for a while, and I made the same point you just said. I mean, Andrade is just at this point kind of hard to trust, and I understand the stabs at her when the price was closer to 2-1, but this price has been plummeting pretty much all week. We opened up Lupi at minus 220, so you can see that price is no longer there. We're currently sitting minus 150 on Lupi. The price was actually a little bit lower. It got as low as minus 140. There's been some nibbles back. The price seems market-wide to be going back up a little bit on that Lupi side. Not close to where we opened it, but there's some buyback on the Lupi side after the original action came in pretty heavily on Jessica Andrade. Yeah, like I said, we got hit on Andrade at plus 190, plus 175, and yeah, now she's sitting plus 130. So there's been a big move in this fight. And that early, more of the respected action was on that Andrade side. So currently, we are going into tomorrow needing Lupi for a decent amount. But like I said, that easily could change. And I like where we sit right now, honestly.
Okay. All right. Another good one. I wish I had jumped on Jessica Andrade earlier when she was at those big plus juicy numbers. I'll be honest with you. It's not nearly as enticing down here at plus 120, plus 125. So I'm still kind of leaning dogger pass, but man, I wish I had taken the plunge. Next up, Gerald Meerschaert and Mikhail Oleksiejczuk. Do you believe in Lord Mikhail via the Fighting Nerds? Is it a big enough difference? He's a favorite. What do you like here, man?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty surprising to see him this big of a favorite. There's definitely been a few stabs. Gerald is always a dog that some of these respected guys end up playing. I feel like he's come out and, been a dog to get some pretty significant upsets through his career in the UFC. Not all of them, but, he's not a bad dog to have your money on. We opened up Oleksiejczuk at minus 220. We're currently sitting minus 240. But we do need Olin Jacek right now. So, like I said, I'm never worried when we need a guy who's a pretty solid favorite going into the Saturday of when the card is, because I, I think that means we're doing our job. So like I said, we've had a few stabs on Mearshart, nothing too respected, but that liability adds up quick when you're messing around with 2-1 underdogs. So right now we need Michel. So we'll see how that plays out tomorrow. I'm sure we'll need the dog tomorrow, but I like where we sit as of now on this fight.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Next up, we've got Tim Elliott and Kai Asakura. Oh, you know what? I apologize. I'm going ever so slightly out of order here. This is where I think we got the little mix-up happening here. Bangsir Surkayev taking on Eric Nolan. This was a last-second addition to this card. I believe we had a fighter winning on Dana White's Contender Series, teammate of Hamzat Chimaev. They found a warm body for him, and now they're chucking him in here. Bay Sanger is a 10-1 favorite coming in here on 4 days turnaround, basically. And Eric Nolan appears to be the poor sap who is willing to take the opportunity. Let's see how that works out for him. What do you see here on this one?
Yeah, I mean, for the show's perspective and what I can share, it's really not too entertaining for this fight. Obviously, we're looking at a massive favorite who had a pretty sweet outing on Tuesday. And to have this kind of turnaround is absolutely nuts. We ended up opening up the favorite at minus 800. We've done everything we can to avoid big bets on the favorite pretty much. And, not just following the market, but keeping an eye on it, because if you're slightly off, you will entice certain bettors to come in. So that's one we've had to keep our eye on. And it looks like books all countrywide or worldwide are doing their best to stay pretty inflated on the favorite here. So, yeah, nothing too significant of note so far. He obviously is thrown into a bunch of parlays. That's not stating anything unusual for a $10 favorite, right? But like I said, we opened minus 800. We're currently sitting minus 1100. So it's moved his direction, and we're just waiting to see a big Eric Nolan bet, and then maybe it will come back down a little bit. But I'm not sure we're going to get that in this one. I'm really not.
I hear you. It makes sense that this is kind of a stay away fight for the books. I think pretty much everybody agrees that this is not a great spot for Eric Nolan, but should be at least an entertaining fight. Can't wait to watch that one. My money won't be anywhere near it. Back to what we were talking about before, though. Tim Elliott and Kai Asakura in this one. Another fun fight. Kai Asakura getting up and over that 3-1 price tag, second outing here in the UFC. Have you guys gotten anything on this one?
Yeah, I'm interested to know how you feel about this fight. I know Asakura kind of got thrown into the meat grinder in his first fight, getting thrown to Pantoja, which is obviously a very, very tough fight for your first fight in the UFC. So I wasn't really sure how this price would play out. We stayed a little bit low when we opened this thing up compared to where the market was. We were sitting at we opened minus 300. We went down to minus 280. At that point, we did take a pretty significant bet on Kai Asakura. So, we got the information we thought we needed, moved pretty aggressively when we got hit on Asakura. A winning UFC better. So that was kind of all we needed to know. Now we're at sitting minus 320. Tim Elliott is another guy. I feel like he's the dog that will fight for your money. So I'm expecting maybe some bites on some of these bigger dogs tomorrow, because that's what these sharp guys like to do. They wait till these prices are super inflated, and then they'll come in on the dog. But as of now, not too much action on Tim Elliott and that early sharp action on Asakura. So, yeah, right now we need Tim Elliott pretty large. But we'll see how that plays out tomorrow. I'm expecting some action on him tomorrow.
Whenever I'm hanging out with my father-in-law, The rule is whoever's got the bigger beard. If you know nothing about the fight, you bet on the guy with the better beard. So if you haven't seen, Tim Elliott's beard is pretty freaking glorious coming into fight week this week. Maybe you'll get a couple nibbles on that big dog there, looking for Tim to come through and do it for old time's sake. I can't wait to see if Kai can actually sink or swim here in the UFC. Jared Cannonier and Michael Venom Page. This has been a bit of a civil war on Twitter this week, man. Back and forth on this one. You've got some strong opinions for people looking at Jared Cannonier to come through. You've got a lot of people believing that MVP, I think it's weird with him staying up at 185 pounds as a natural 170 pounder, but hey, he's way taller than Jared, even moving up a weight class. This fight is weird written all over it. What are you seeing for betting action? What do you like on this one?
Yeah, I think you make a great point. It, like, just following the social media stuff is, a big part of what I try to do, just to kind of get a general idea of what, the community is thinking about fights. And this one does seem like a lot of people are saying that this price is a little too inflated on MVP, but the price has kept going his direction. And I don't know if that means anything to you guys, but it does mean something to me. I mean, we opened at minus 175 on Michael Venom Page. We're currently sitting minus 205. We have seen a few stabs on Cannonier, but if you're keeping an eye on the market, it's gone Michael Venom Page's direction this week, despite some bets on Cannonier and some people having big opinions on that side. So I'm interested to see how this one plays out. Maybe tomorrow, like I said, the guys who come in and play the dogs day of, maybe this price will come back down to where we opened closer to minus 170, minus 175. But as of now, that Michael Venom Page side has just been kind of inflating all week. And we slightly need Cannonier from the book's perspective.
Okay. All right. I like it. Guys, we are getting up to the top fights on this card. Please do me a favor, hit that like button and get subscribed if you haven't yet. Make sure you're following Andrew, who gives us a lot of time and good information for gambling, especially on these MMA fights. Jeff Neal and Carlos Prates. Man, you know me. I've always been a fader of Carlos Prates. It has not worked out for me more often than not. But this does seem to be like the tipping point. Now that he's up towards the top end of the division, I kind of feel like his overachieving streak is going to come to an end. The problem is, I just don't know if Jeff Neal's that guy anymore, man. At 34 years old, he's still an extremely tough out, but it's not like he hasn't had his own problems and letdowns and physical issues. This is a really tough fight for me to call. And I just hate betting on fighters who are losing right up until the point that they win. Backing a guy like Prates with that power scares the crap out of me every single time. Prates, a decent-sized favorite. What do you like?
Yeah, man, I got a good amount of content to share with this fight. It's been a fun one to book. So we opened up Prates at minus 270. It's come down quite a bit. You can see, let me pull up the actual numbers so I can. Yeah, so we opened 270. As this week has gone on, it got lower. It got as low as minus 240. Then the price started going back up a little bit on that Prates side. And today, actually, this morning, one of our sharper UFC bettors came in and bet on Jeff Neal. So, and made a pretty significant bet at plus 210 on Neal. So, with that information, we moved pretty aggressively back down to 220 on that Prates side. So as of now, we need Prates pretty significantly. And another factor to throw into this one is early in the week, we did get hit on the over by a very sharp customer as well. So, combining that information kind of makes me nervous because Prates, doesn't always have the most output. He's putting people down sometimes, but if this one goes to the distance, that definitely makes me a little bit more nervous on that Prates side. But that's the side we're rooting for. We're rooting for Prates in the under as of now. We'll see how that plays out tomorrow. Like I said, the parlays will be here and it'll probably equal itself out a little bit. But right now, Pratis is one of the sides we need biggest on the card.
Wow, that is very, very interesting. And this is not a interact with the chat kind of show, but my guy Dream in the chat is doing circles right about now. He was hoping to hear you saying sharp action on Neil, and he has Neil by decision in pocket. So both Neil and the over getting hit. My guy's doing cartwheels. That number has crashed. The market continues to come down. Even right now, it's moving down while we are live here on the show. So if you got that 2-1 number on Jeff Neal, good on you. You did your job. I think this fight could be a lot closer than people are expecting. And like we talked about, man, minutes versus moments. If Prates doesn't get that kill shot, this fight gets very, very, very interesting. The big one, man, co-main event. And yeah, I know we've got an even bigger one coming next, but Aaron Pico finally makes his UFC debut. He takes on Dark Horse Lerone Murphy, the man who is just searching for an ounce of respect in the UFC. 16-0-1. He's beaten absolutely everybody they've put in front of him. His recent wins, Barbosa, Ige, Emmett. Like, this man has run the gauntlet trying to get his respect and a title fight. Now he takes on one of the hottest prospects from just a couple of years ago, maybe the hottest prospect coming out of Bellator, PFL, etc. Aaron Pico. The hopes were exceedingly high for this kid. He's growing into his man muscles. He's 28 years old, and now he gets a shot on the big stage. What's going on here on this one?
Man, this fight's been incredible. Lots of information to share here. We opened up Aaron Pico at -125. Pretty instantly, the action was coming in on that Pico side for sure. We got hit by one of our more respected UFC bettors at -140. So that price kept inflating way more than I was expecting when we opened this thing at -125, right? Like, it got as high as -200. So that was a big mover for us. And at that point that it hit -200, the big guy came in for a second play, and he took the Lerone Murphy side. Who knows if he got in on Pico elsewhere at -125 and was just getting buyback, so he wins on both sides. But, he makes significant wagers, and over the last 10 years, he's, our best UFC bettor. I know he's been down, and people love when I post his stuff because they're ready to fade his stuff. But, yeah, he came in on Lerone Murphy at +165. Since he bet it, the prices kind of plummeted back down on that Pico side. We're sitting back down at -160. So, yeah, -200 down to -160. Yeah, man, this has been a real fun one to book. Super strong opinions on both sides. Right now, we need Pico pretty significantly. He's going to be a popular play tomorrow, so I'm not overly worried about it. But right now, we need his side bigger than anybody else on the card. Yeah, lots of fun on this one. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm nervous because I was all in on Patchy Mix, and then.
Do you see we just got a fight booked? Don't remind me.
This should be a winnable fight for him. Come on, man. We need a bounce back spot for our guy. And then Patricio Pitbull too. His first outing was not too great. So let's hope Pico can come in here and look a little bit sharper than not let these big lights get to him. Yeah, we'll see how that one plays out, but we need Pico pretty big here at the Superbook.
Okay, the book needs Pico. Main event time, everybody. Dricus du Plessis taking on Khamzat Chimaev. I have been on Team Dricus basically forever. Khamzat, the chosen one, the UFC moving heaven and earth to ensure that this man can be on a card. Probably making some very shady deals to get him inside the United States with his background and affiliations, but he's here. We got it. The fight is on, and I can't wait to watch this one, man. Khamzat, a decent-sized favorite here in this spot. The champion Dricus is an underdog, and it seems like that number continues to climb. What are you seeing?
Let me get the exact date. This is one that we've had, we put up these early lines when we get these fight announcements. We've had this one up since the very beginning of May. So this one has had an extreme amount of shelf life. And it's been very, really entertaining for me, someone who loves the UFC, to just follow the lines and see where this action's coming. And this fight's kind of played a little bit of tricks on me, because usually that early money, it indicates, sharper money. It's not, 100% bulletproof that point, but typically people who are betting in advance are, wiser bettors. And like I said, we had this up very early, and that early action was coming in on DDP. So that early line got hit on that DDP side. But this last 2-week period, it's been all Hamza money, man. It's been crazy to see. They're betting Hamza like crazy. We opened up Hamza at minus 190 back in May, like I said. We're currently sitting minus 250. We're a little bit higher than the market because, man, we've just taken a lot of action on Hamzat this week. Not that we're not getting DDP action, but there's people coming to the book and betting significant amounts of money on this fight. We got as high as minus 260. We took some DDP bets over the last 2 days. We're back down to minus 250. This would be one where if the champ can hold on to his belt, that would make our day a success no matter what. Like, however the rest of the card plays out, if Duplessis is able to get this one done, the books will win. I feel very confident in saying that. Nothing overly respected from like specific customers, but when you're looking at handle, this has been probably one of the more fun fights to book out of the whole year so far. I was not expecting the love for Hamza. Even in the press conferences, these people are going crazy for Hamza. Maybe I'm foolish and I wasn't thinking, I just didn't think he was that popular, but he really is that guy. He really is.
Yep. UFC definitely wants to be behind their man here on this one. All right, everybody, that is the Sharp Action Report. I do have to acquiesce to the chat here just a little bit, my guy. They're asking, since there's a PFL fight today, is there any sharp or notable action on the PFL that you would be willing to share with us?
Yeah, let me pull that up. I know. So that stuff doesn't have a ton of shelf life either, because we booked that stuff day of, but I did see a bunch of bets this morning when I was hanging all those lines. We did get hit on Mads Burnell at minus 160. I wouldn't say it was overly respected, but that was one of the first sides we got hit on. And that moved, the market's kind of moving in Burnell's direction. We did get hit pretty big on a total in this is not an easy name to say. Kovalov, the Kovalov fight, he's a massive favorite. They bet the under in that fight. That was pretty significant. But I'd say those are probably the two most significant bets so far on the card. I did see the Carmouche number is going in her direction as well from where we opened it. So I know
best
maybe
bet in
that's
sports,
you.
ladies and gentlemen. Liz Carmouche money line.
They saw your parlay and they started moving the price.
Hey, when that line opened up overseas, man, it was a decent bit wider. I was actually shocked. They brought it down for some reason. I mean, people just are underestimating Liz like they always have, man. She's lost once in the last 5 years, and it was to a UFC veteran, someone who is able to physically match her. And now she's got a chance to essentially complete what is damn near the Triple Crown, right? Like, she didn't get UFC gold because she ran into Ronda Rousey, but she was the first woman in the UFC to compete for a title alongside Ronda Rousey. This is basically the Triple Crown of her career. You think Liz is losing today? No chance. It's Carmouche season, baby. Let's go.
I love to see it. Yeah. The price, like I said, we opened at minus 160. It's sitting at minus 190. So it's moving back up in that Carmouche direction. So it looks like you hit the low of the market. It seems like you had your mind on straight for this one.
I was ready, man. Should be minus 300. Let's go, Carmouche. Man, thank you so much for joining me on the show, everybody. That is the UFC 319 and PFL Sharp Action report for this week. Do me a favor, give my guy a follow. Make sure you're checking him out. He always posts updates last second, so you'll get a tweet from him, tomorrow. If action comes in, he likes to, tease everybody a little bit. He's very interactive. So if you guys have questions, he's very helpful. Make sure you give him a follow on social media, and we will see you guys later on this evening for the undefeated post weigh-in show. Get subscribed, hit that bell notification so you get warned every time I go live, and we will talk to you guys very, very soon. For myself and for Andrew, we out. Let's roll.